How, if we didn't have the name, then how would we then be saved? Because it says, whosoever shall call on me shall be delivered, right? So we would have the name before that point, before the destruction comes, so that we can call on them to be delivered. Alright, go on. Yeah.
This is Amos chapter 9 verse 8. Behold, the eyes of the Lord are upon the sinful kingdom.
Yeah.
And I will destroy it off the face of the earth.
Really, when you really want to go deep, that's really talking about Israel. But that's twofold, because we do live in a sinful kingdom. Go on.
That's what you want to see. This is Titus. Titus 1 and 11. It says, whose mouths must be stopped, who suffer whole houses, teaching things which they ought not.
Right, that's the churches. And that's also IUIC. Yep. They need to be shut down. All these different camps that are not teaching the truth, they got to be shut down. Because what they're doing is they're misleading and misguiding the flock. Okay? And that's pretty much bringing forth, you're leading Israel to error. Right? When you don't warn Israel, right? When you don't warn Israel that the wolf is coming, then guess what? That blood is going to be required at your hand. All right, that blood is going to be required. Okay. So the thing to do is to wipe that blood off your hand, which is by warning our people for the wolf to come. What is the wolf? The wolf is talking about the different plagues and the calamities that the Lord is going to bring on this earth. So we're supposed to warn them of the chip. We're supposed to warn them of the race wars. We're supposed to warn them of the nuclear war. All of the things that's going to happen at the end of the war, we're supposed to warn our people of that. But when one is not doing so, that's when you're going to bring yourself into great damnation. All right? As it tells you, and also in Corinthians, it says, woe unto him that eat and drink of this unworthily. All right? Go on, brother.
All right. Amos chapter 9 verse 9. For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like corn is sifted in a sieve.
Like this corn is sifted in the sea.
Yet least grain shall fall upon the earth.
Yep.
Verse 10. All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword.
All the sinners of this people shall die by the sword. So that even goes for you false pastors out there, you Israelite groups out there that are not subscribing to the teachings of Great Millstone, which is the complete truth. You guys out there, man, you guys are going to be taken out. And the way you guys are going to be taken out is going to be major. Okay, the Lord is going to put that fear in you while you're being destroyed by him, by those plagues. Okay, go on.
The evil shall not overtake nor prevent us.
Yep.
In that day I will raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen.
We've read that already. Go on.
And close up the breaches thereof.
Yeah, that's it on that. That's it on that. Yeah, man. So that's pretty much the deal on that. And another thing I would like to go into as well is what's going on around the world in terms of this war that's happening. The war in what is it in the war about in Syria, Iran, and the likes. Gotta talk about that as well. Let me see if I can find that article. If brothers, I don't know if you brothers got articles on the subject matter. It'd be cool if you can bring those articles out. Because now we gotta dive into prophecy now.
I'll bring this one scripture.
Yeah, go on.
Alright. Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against God.
Right, set thy face against God, meaning to prophesy against it. Go on.
The land of Magog.
Right, which is the land of Russia. Go on.
The chief prince of Meshach and Tubal.
Go on.
And prophesy against him.
Yep.
And say, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I am against thee, O God.
Right.
The chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. And I will turn thee back and put hooks in thy jaws.
Right, and Meshach and Tubal, those were the sons of Japheth. Go on.
And I'll bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen.
Right, see, that's all of the allies of Russia.
Right.
That's Iran, that's Syria, that's Turkey, and the likes. Go on.
All of them clothed with all sorts of armor,
Yeah.
even a great company with bucklers and shields.
Right, that's the military power and the weapons they have. Go on.
All of them handling swords.
Okay.
Verse 5. Persia,
Which is Iran. Go on.
Ethiopia,
Yep.
and Libya,
Right.
all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters,
Right.
and all his bands.
With the house of Togarmah, what is that, brother? That's in
Syria.
Right.
That's the landmass of Syria, Iraq.
Come on.
And many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepared for thyself.
Right. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself. How are they doing this? Because Russia's sending these allies warheads. Whether they be S-300s or S-400s. Alright, brother, yeah, I can see that.
Let's finish this bit.
Yeah.
And all thy company that are assembled unto thee.
Right, and all that company that are assembled unto them. That's them allies. So we can stop there and go on with this now.
This is from Russia Today. It says, the headline, it says, Trump will fail. It says, Iran won't abandon missiles that make America angry.
Right.
Rouhani says, it says, Iranian President Hassan Rouhani says that Trump is doomed to fail against Iran.
Right.
Just like Iraq's Saddam Hussein.
And you know what too, he's right. He's absolutely right because the reason why I say that he's right, the president of Iran, what is his name, Rouhani, right? Rouhani. So yeah, the reason why I say that he's right because it's in the scriptures that America is destined for failure or doom. Because it's in the scriptures. Okay, but also Iran too, and all their allies. Go on.
It says, and that Tehran will not bow down to Washington and get rid of its defensive
Right, so the Most High's putting that spirit of war in them, getting them prepared and awakened for war. Get that in Joel.
Yeah, I got that here.
Oh, you got it already? Yeah, read that.
This is the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 2.
Yeah.
I will also gather all nations.
Right, I will gather all nations, meaning he will assemble them, arrange them together. Go on.
I will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. I will plead with them there for my people.
Right, and that's all of those allies within the Persian Gulf area. Go on.
And for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations,
Right.
and parted my land.
Part of the land. So the reason why these nations are going to get to this nuclear war is because of what they've done unto us. That's the whole mystery of the secret. That's the biggest kept secret of the world. And guess what, baby boy? We got that secret. All right, go on.
Continuing on, it says, should the worst case scenario occur and Washington attacks Iran, the US will face the same fate as Iraq's Saddam Hussein.
Wow.
Rouhani warned.
Them are some
referring to the
proud
Indian-
words. Them are some proud words, man. For him to make that statement, that's showing you right there that the weak is saying that I'm strong.
Right.
All right. Matter of fact, continue to read that in Joel. That's how you know that the Lord is awakening these nations to go against Babylon the Great. Go on, brother.
I'll read verse 2 again. And I will gather all nations, I will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat.
Right.
And there will I plead with them for my people.
The word plead is shafat, which means to punish. Go on.
And for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations, and parted my land.
Go on.
Verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot.
Right, that's what they did to us in slavery, man. Or when he was capturing us to become their slaves. Go on.
And sold a girl for wine,
Right.
that they might drink. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon?
That's them Hamites. Go on.
And all the coast of Palestine, will ye render me a recompense?
Yeah.
And if ye recompense me, swiftly, speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head.
Right. Go on.
Because ye have taken silver, because ye have taken my silver and my gold,
Yeah.
and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things.
That's Esau. Esau stole all of the goods that we had back in the day, man. Stole the menorah. I'm talking about the Romans. They stole the menorah and they also stole other things as well. And us. So they're going to have to receive the recompense of their ill dealing. Go on.
The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians,
Yeah, that's Esau. Go on.
that ye might remove them far from their border.
Come on, yeah, go on.
Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them.
Right.
I will return your recompense upon your own head.
Okay.
I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah,
Right, go on.
and they shall sell them
We're going to have taskmasters over them. Go on.
to the Sabians, to a people far off. Yahweh have spoken it.
Yeah.
Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles.
Yeah, read the part where it says awake when you awake the nations. Go on.
I think that's a bit further down.
Yeah, read all the way down.
Okay. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men.
Right. Wake up the mighty men. Go on.
Let all the men of war draw
The
near.
Most High is waking up these men of these nations. And this is why Iran said that America was suffering the same fate as, Iraq. So that's proud words right there, man. A small little country such as Iran is saying these things. That's showing you right there that the Most High is moving his plan. The Lord said, I will take the wise in his own craftiness. Okay, because the Lord controls man. Or let me use another scripture. The Most High, he ruleth in the kingdom of men, right?
Yep.
So the Lord is controlling the minds of these men that's empowered to perform the purpose of the Lord. Okay, go on.
Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords.
Right.
And your pruning hooks into spears.
Right.
Let the weak say, I am strong.
Now let's go back and read what we have. Prophecy. It's all prophecy.
Right.
So you finish, I got articles.
Okay.
So he says the same will happen to Trump. America will suffer the same fate as Saddam Hussein.
Right.
He says Washington has been pushing its allies to follow its anti-Iranian agenda
Right.
after Trump withdrew from the landmark Iran nuclear deal,
Right.
officially called it the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or the JCPA. However, these attempts won't yield the desired results and won't halt Iran's missile program, Iran already said. Iran will not abandon its defensive weapons,
Right.
including its missiles
Right.
that make America so angry.
Right. So they're not going to abandon their plan, which they call it. I believe it's the uranium. What is it? The uranium. Oh man, come on, man.
Program.
Huh?
The enriched uranium.
Yeah, the enriched uranium, but I'm looking for another word. The chromium. No.
This is from the NewYorkTimes.com. Alright. Russia and Turkey. It's about basically came out a couple of days ago that there's going to be a demilitarized zone over there in Syria. And when I watched the press conference, and Erdogan was there and Putin was there, right? Ezekiel is taking shape. It's like it's raining. I can't even.
Wet, innit? Speaking English.
Yeah, I can't even. Trying to. And that's it. It's wet, innit? Hey, but that's it. In season, out of season. Alright? This is the New York Times, right, by Andrew Higgins and Rick Gladstone. Russia and Turkey have agreed to establish a demilitarized zone there to avert potentially catastrophic military confrontation. The announcement by the two presidents who support opposite sides of Syria's civil war appeared at least to delay what has been forecast as a bloody assault on Idlib. Now, that area, Idlib, has still got the terrorists there, and America is saying if there's chemical weapons, we know who's going to use it.
So basically,
What's her name? Nikki Haley, innit?
It's Nikki.
Yeah,
So
basically.
they're already getting in your minds that it's going to happen because they know it's going to happen.
Yeah. And that's what they call what? Predictive programming.
Right.
You know? So they're telling you what they're going to do, basically, frame them. Right? Right? The announcement of the two presidents who support the opposite sides of the civil war appeared to delay things. Right? but by Idlib, the forces and allies of Bashar al-Assad of Syria, which include Russia and Iran. Now they're both in Ezekiel 38.
Plutonium, that's how I found it.
Fears are looming that the Idlib have been building in weeks with the triumphant Assad. Now why would President Assad gas his own people when he's won that war?
Right, that would make no sense.
And besides,
It makes no sense.
Russia already helped defeat the terrorists that was in there anyway.
Yeah,
So, you know,
that's what I'm
the
saying.
fact of the matter is that America's getting desperate. And they're doing, you know, and because they know the masses are so stupid, they can actually come out and say that, you know, before there's any reason for them to say that if Assad starts chemically attacking his own people, then they're going to do something.
That's
Whereas
ridiculous, man.
it's
That's
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
There's no need for them to even bring that out.
Nah, man.
Yeah, but Salaka, some of these people, they believe it, man.
Yeah, because they're dummies. They're
They're
dummies,
dummies, man. In gross darkness. Alright? A little bit more here. Alright? Assad, once written off by Western powers and other enemies, has reclaimed most of the country and geared up for the final military conflict. Hey, that sounds like let the weak sound strong right there. Yeah, because Iran was weak at one point. Okay? Economically. And I'll say this is like World War II because Hitler and Mussolini, they were allies, alright? And they were doing deals together and it ended up in a war. Now this is just the same thing. Proxy wars, isn't it?
But to say another point of it is, remember there's only a couple of countries left now without them Rothschild banks, right?
Yeah,
and I'm sure Syria's one of them, right?
Yeah, Syria's one of them, yeah. Exactly.
That's another reason they're trying. They need to take control because they said, I can't remember who said it, it might have been that Tillerson guy who said that they need to something along the lines of they need to there needs to be a regime change. He come out and said it, and he wasn't really meant to say it like that.
Yeah.
But he was basically saying that they need to basically kill off Assad so they can, you know, have a regime change.
Right.
Yeah, to put another puppet.
That's it.
Put another puppet in there.
Yeah, put another puppet in there. So this is basically history repeating itself. But that's how the proxy wars worked for World War II. And then it came in a conflict, man.
Yeah.
Alright? Right, it's a little bit more. Syria has been in the grip of a brutal conflict since 2011 when a peaceful uprising, it wasn't peaceful, man. This man is the devil. Hey. Slovakia. Oh man, it's getting wet. Slovakia. Assad's autocratic rule morphed into a horrific civil war that was marked by chemical attacks and allegations of war crimes. Now, wasn't that in World War II? What do they say? The Jewish people were what? Gas.
Yes.
See, they're just doing the same.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing, but
the same thing.
these people, they're in gross darkness.
Right. Because see, what you gotta understand, when you understand history or things that happened, 60 or 70 years ago, guess what? It repeats itself.
Right.
Like the saying goes, history has a way of repeating itself. So if you don't know history or anything like that, you're not gonna know how the future's gonna be.
Yeah.
All right. Like they said back in the day, how the Jews were in the gas chambers, right?
Yeah.
World War II when Hitler was in office.
Yeah.
They said that he gassed the Jews. So what they're doing now is Britain is now pretty much going to stage something else.
Yeah.
And what they're going to stage is that they're gonna set up. Let me reiterate what I'm saying. They're gonna set up a psychological operation and say that Bashar al-Assad is chemicalizing his own people, and then put it out there in the media. So when you like I said, when you understand history, then you can understand what the future's gonna be. Okay, but I found the saying though, so I want you to read that article. I found it, brother.
My bad.
And that's gonna be the reason for them to go into the war with Syria.
He said so after the US pulled out the nuclear deal, other signatories, including China, France, Germany, and Russia, vowed to keep the agreement alive.
Right, they vowed to keep the agreement alive because see, this is something that Donald Trump was talking about on how Germany was linked in with a country that was a part of the allies of Russia, I believe it was. This was ages ago. All right. So what's happening is not only do you have Germany linking up with these allies, but you also, right, Russia was, but you also have England is now being dependent on Iran concerning what is it? Terms of trade. Okay.
All these sanctions in Trump's imposing.
Right. It's going to affect Europe with the trade program.
All he's doing is pissing people off.
Exactly. So this is going to lead also the EU, these that shall hate the whore, to go up against what America. Go on, brother.
Right, so it says
So it's all these nuts.
the powers will meet on Monday to further maintain the agreement.
Right.
Meanwhile, Washington is mulling a new treaty with Tehran to address its ballistic missile program,
Right.
apart from the nuclear program.
Right, which is the uranium plutonium program. Go on.
A condition that the current deal lacks and was cited by Trump as one of his major flaws.
Yeah, say that again. Say that again.
Meanwhile, Washington is mulling a new treaty with Tehran to address its ballistic missile program,
Right.
apart from the nuclear program.
Right, which is, I'm going to say again, the uranium plutonium program. Go on.
A condition that the deal lacks
Yeah.
and was cited by Trump as one of its major flaws.